I'm one of the best players in this draft.
I'm a blue-collar type of person.
Very aggressive corner.
Leader on and off the field.
I'm going to work hard every day. I won't be stopped.
I'm a technician.
I'm able to do it all.
Justin Fields is amazing.
Very aggressive downfield.
Height, weight, speed, a dynamic playmaker. Clearly the best route runner in this year's draft.
Touchdown! Devonta Smith cannot be stopped.
He is a tough, physical press man corner.
He is big-time speed.
ETN, dangerous every which way.
Woody Hay.
Most explosive rusher in this draft.
Playing tough, playing fast. I'm a playmaker.
Impose my will all 4 quarters.
I'm not going to just lay down.
I'm one of the best skilled guys in the draft. I'm able to do it all.
All the way to the end zone, Travis Etienne.
Mock Draft Live going up on a Tuesday. Hello, friends. Welcome into the show. I'm Colleen Wolfe with Bucky Brooks, Lance Zierlein. We had some curveballs thrown our way at the end of last week, so Lance whipped up a new mock, and here we are. The mock 3.0 drops. So, Lance, anything we should brace ourselves for?
Well, we got a playmaker at pick 1, a playmaker at pick 32, and a lot of stuff going on in between. So you're going to have to stay for the whole show to find out about all these playmakers. I can tell you they're throughout this draft.
I like it. Okay, so in the leadoff spot, no changes. Trevor Lawrence to the Jags.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, I mean, if you're doing anything other than this, you're just looking for attention. Trevor Lawrence is big. He's got generational traits, and he's a guy you build around in the future for the long term. So I wouldn't even pick up a phone. You don't even want to be tempted if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a no-brainer. The Jaguars have never had an elite franchise quarterback. This gives them an opportunity to build a franchise around a guy who has generational talent.
I wish we could just make this official now, but no, we must wait. On to the Jets, where last week Bucky had them taking offensive tackle Penei Sewell, but Lance is in the quarterback camp for New York at 2.
Yeah, and I just think Zach Wilson's pro day is going to I thought it was okay. I didn't go as crazy over it as some others did, but I think it's good enough for him to lock in with the Jets there at the number 2 pick. Look, he's got a ton of talent. I just want to see how he performs against a much tougher schedule than he obviously played against in 2020, but the guy clearly showed huge improvements this year.
Yeah, he did show huge improvements, right? The level of competition is a concern, but the talent is there. Hopefully in that system in New York, you get a chance to see him really maximize everything that he's flashed during his time at BYU.
Zach Wilson wasn't the only one moving around during BYU's pro day. The draft order also got a workout after these trades went down.
Some breaking news, huge news as we sit 34 days away from the NFL draft.
San Francisco 49ers going from number 12 all the way to number 3, presumably to take a quarterback, their quarterback of the future.
This could be someone who could groom under Jimmy before they make the move.
Yeah, I think he'll be an ex-49er. The question is whether that's going to be before this season or after.
This is all just kind of happening at one time. This phone is blowing up from people right now.
The Miami Dolphins go from 3 all the way to 12. They collect a couple future first-round picks, and then they go from 12 to 6, trade with the Philadelphia Eagles. So for the Dolphins, that means more ammo, more picks.
We are already moving and shaking here in the first round of the 2021 NFL draft. Does it get much better than this, folks?
The Niners trading up 9 spots to 3, and Lance has them taking Lance.
Trey Lance. I mean, look, I don't know if it's going to be Trey Lance or not. This is something we can get into. I want to talk about Trey Lance, though, because I think he's the right fit for San Francisco. This is who the pick should be. If you're going to move up and give up that much draft capital for a quarterback, it better be a playmaker and not a snap taker. And I think Trey Lance has playmaking potential. He's big, he's athletic, he's mobile, he can play under center, he can play out of the gun, he can run the RPO stuff for you. There's really not a lot he can't do. It's just that he doesn't have the big game experience and he doesn't have a lot of game experience. But I think he's the perfect fit, Bucky, for Shanahan's offense. And I think it allows him to get everything out of the Mike Shanahan / Kyle Shanahan style of offense. That's why I think he would be the perfect spot here at number 3. I don't know if that's how it's going to go down, though.
Yeah, I wonder about that, Lance, because when you think about the Shanahan system, everyone wants to point to Kirk Cousins and what Kyle Shanahan did with Matt Shaw. But if you go back and look at who the Super Bowls have been won within that system, John Elway and Steve Young. And when I look at Trey Lance, he certainly has that athleticism that you look for. Big-time talent, physical, does a great job of putting the ball in the paint as a runner, but also gets it done as a thrower, under center and from the gun. I think Kyle Shanahan would have a lot of fun building an offense around Trey Lance's talents.
So, Lance, in this scenario, how do things shake out for Jimmy G? Does he start this year? Is he still a Niner?
Well, under my scenario with Trey Lance, he absolutely starts, and I think he would be a San Francisco 49er. I think they would stick to a very disciplined plan of playing the veteran who understands the offense, a guy they got to the Super Bowl with, and you let Trey Lance learn under Jimmy Garoppolo. If, however, it ends up being a guy like Mac Jones, well, that changes things because I think Mac Jones might be more ready to play in an offense, and I think that's why you potentially listen to offers for Jimmy Garoppolo if it is Mac Jones. So I think you may handle Jimmy Garoppolo a little differently depending on who their quarterback choice is.
Yeah, I think this could be a situation that's very similar to what happened in Kansas City. Alex Smith continued to play at a high level before they handed it off to Patrick Mahomes. I think Kyle Shanahan is well aware of that. I think they would like to follow that blueprint.
Jimmy G can't be happy, and maybe he'll get a little bit of the Aaron Rodgers effect from all of this. We'll see. Let's hit Kyle Shanahan's old spot, though, the Falcons, where Lance has a corner, not a quarterback going.
Yeah, you know, I just have to tell you, Pat Surtain to me is a special player. And that's a team that had 34 touchdowns given up, only 12 interceptions, only 5 of them were by cornerbacks. They got to get better on the back end. And this guy's the best corner in the draft.
He absolutely is the best corner in the draft. I love his toolbox. He does a great job of playing man and zone from utilizing a variety of different techniques. You got to take him if he's there for the Atlanta Falcons.
New defensive coordinator Dean Pease should be very pleased with that. As we reveal Lance's next 4 picks, showing you the top 8 selections. Back-to-back receivers going 6 and 7 to the Dolphins and Lions after the Bengals address their O-line. But let's pause at the Panthers pick, a name shooting up mock drafts, Mac Jones.
Jones looking to throw far side, has Smith in stride. Second and 3, Jones is pressured, lobs it to Harris, who collects it, gets around Borland, and leaps to the end zone.
All the kids are calling him Big Mac, Lance. You know it, so why do you like him as the Panthers pick?
Well, okay, so look, Joe Brady had Joe Burrow before. I think when you look at Joe Burrow and you look at Mac Jones, you can find some similarities there. But I think ultimately Joe Burrow is definitely the better player when you really get into the tape. I do think Mac Jones needs talent around him to really perform at a high level. I don't think he's going to be a guy who elevates players around him. That would be my concern, obviously. But I think what the Panthers see in him and what Joe Brady, the offense coordinator, sees in him is a player that they can win with quickly because he is a very sharp, heady guy who can play inside the framework of their offense and let the offense do a lot of the heavy lifting and the design of the passing game do a lot of heavy lifting for Mac Jones.
Yeah, here's the thing. The Carolina Panthers, I think, had an opportunity to coach Mac Jones at the Senior Bowl. So they got a chance to really get around him, understand how he processes the playbook, how he performs. And so this could be a pick. Their owner, David Tepper, is adamant about finding a franchise quarterback. Maybe in some, I won't say strange world, but maybe in Panther land, they view him as a franchise quarterback and they can surround him with the weapons he needs to be very, very successful in this league.
Okay, so time out for a second because there's a lot swirling around Mac Jones to the Niners at 3. Shanahan and John Lynch were at his pro day today. So where are you on that combo, Lance?
Well, look, I think Kyle Shanahan, I keep saying Mike, I think Kyle Shanahan's offense can work anywhere with most any quarterbacks. I think he knows exactly what he needs in a quarterback, and that's how strongly I think about his offense. I think he's really great at what he does in terms of getting the most out of quarterbacks. So I think Mac Jones could be very successful in that kind of offense. But you don't trade 3 first-round picks for Kirk Cousins. So anytime Kirk Cousins' name is mentioned, I'm like, what? Who's trading that much for Kirk Cousins? And I cover the Houston Texans. I live in Houston. I saw what happens when an offensive-minded coach gets a hold of personnel decisions. They can swing for the fences with some very aggressive moves that can set you back if you miss. And so I do have a little bit of a concern, Bucky, on this one about is that what Kyle Shanahan's doing here if it's Mac Jones?
Yeah, I got tremendous concerns if Kyle Shanahan says that Mac Jones is the transcendent player that you got to take in the top 5, that you have to trade away to get. I understand he's had success being able to get it done with the likes of Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins and others. But here's the thing. We just saw in this division, Sean McVay traded away Jared Goff because he felt like he hit the ceiling. We're seeing his own frustration with Jimmy Garoppolo because he can't get over the hump with those guys. I would contend that both of those players are more talented than Mac Jones. So if he traded up to kind of run it back with a similar type player, to me it doesn't make sense. You make this move because you want a Pat Mahomes type and Aaron Rodgers type. I don't believe Mac Jones is that type of player.
No.
We'll have to wait to see what the Niners do after that big trade up. Lucky for us, though, we have the rest of Lance's mock draft to go through right here, right now. 8 picks down and still no sign of Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields. Where is he? Where does he land in Lance's latest mock? It could be bad news for a quarterback who was just drafted in 2019. Uh-oh, find out next.
Lost it down, and the catch is made. Touchdown.
Looking for the end zone. Passes caught. Jamar Chase, touchdown.
Wilson goes deep down the far side. Another BYU touchdown. Looking to launch deep. Smith is wide open. Devonta headed for the end zone. Monster night.
Intercepted by Alabama. Another pick by Patrick Surtain. Taken to the house. A pick 6 for the junior.
Here is Pitts. Run, young man, run. Touchdown, Gators. Fields again in the shotgun. Fires into the end zone. Touchdown. Got it in the end zone for another score as he weaved inside of a defender.
Mock Draft Live running through Lance Zierlein's latest mock 3.0, picks 9 through 16. Really marinate in it for a second. We're about to really dive into this bracket right here, starting with the next quarterback. And Drew Lock, I'm sorry, Lance has Justin Fields heading to the Broncos with that 9th pick.
Well, you know, I think where there's smoke, there's fire. There's been a lot of discussion about Denver potentially being interested in another quarterback. And look, I mean, Justin Fields is a guy who has played in a lot of high leverage games. I really love the game that he played against Clemson because not only did he step up after, you know, coming off of some down performances in the season, but he also played extremely well in the first half, got injured, came back, played injured, and played well. I thought he showed a lot of football moxie and toughness there. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of like Justin Fields in this spot. We saw the Arizona Cardinals get away from Josh Rosen very, very quickly because they just felt like he wasn't the guy. And if Denver doesn't think Drew Lock is the guy, then why not go with the quarterback that you do think is a guy? And if that's what they feel like, feel about Justin Fields, I don't think they'll hesitate to pull the trigger at number 9 with Fields if he's there.
No, I think it would be smart for the Denver Broncos to make this pick if Justin Fields is there. Not only is his talent worthy of being a top 10 pick, I believe he's a special player. Moreover, it does enable the Denver Broncos to reset the clock with the rookie quarterback. That enables them to re-sign their stars. It also allows them to build a more competitive team around the quarterback. And because the quarterback room is not very expensive when it comes to Drew Lock's salary and Justin Fields' salary, I think this creates the kind of competition that will ultimately allow them to have the best quarterback going forward. Either Drew Lock steps up or Justin Fields becomes the QB1. I like this pick.
So let's talk about that competition then, Lance. Who would you rather, before seeing them on the field in that competition, Lock or Fields?
Well, I'd go off of what I saw on tape when both guys came out. I mean, I had a second-round grad on Lock. I mean, Lock has a ton of talent and a ton of ability, but I'm seeing some of the same things in the pros I saw in college. And I just think Fields is better prepared to be a more consistent performer on Sunday, game in and game out. And that's what it's about in the NFL. Give me consistency.
Yeah, you talk about a consistent player. I believe Fields is a much better player coming out of college than Drew Lock was. And even though Drew Lock has shown promise at times during his 2 years at Denver, I think you're getting an upgrade at the position with Justin Fields. He's talented, tremendous arm talent. He's athletic. He gives you a lot more at the position. I think you have to take Fields over Lock in a competition.
One of these years, Denver will find a quarterback. I believe it's going to happen. Let's move on to the 10th pick here. And Lance, you have the Cowboys investing in the offensive line.
Well, I think it's smart. And when you go back to the Cowboys, you know, their growth happened when they drafted Zach Martin. We thought they might go Johnny Manziel, but they made the right move and went Zach Martin. This is the right move. This is getting a player who has tackle and guard potential. I thought he had some great tape 2 years ago in 19. You see him here at left tackle against Chase Young. He's got tackle, guard, and center ability. And to me, Rashawn Slater really improved from 18 to 19. I love this pick for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I love the pick. I believe they need to take a look at the offensive line. They've had issues with injuries up front. La'el Collins, Tyron Smith. You get a guy like Rashawn Slater who has the ability to go inside a guard or play tackle. It solidifies the most important piece of their offensive puzzle because now you have Dak Prescott and the skill weapons on the outside, and you have that big offensive line to mash.
And when I think of the Cowboys, I already think of Slater. So Jane gets to cover a fellow Slater. It's almost too perfect. How about at 11, the Giants, Lance? Kyle Pitts teaming up with Daniel Jones.
I mean, every single rep is going to be an unbelievable highlight film here with Kyle Pitts. He's big, he's fast, he's explosive. You can't guard him with a little corner. What are you doing? And guess what? If you put a linebacker on him, he's too fast. Bucky, this is the ultimate weapon in the 2021 draft.
I mean, he is the ultimate weapon in the 2021 draft. I just wonder about the Giants. Didn't you take that weapon when you got Evan Ingram? So now you have two guys who are flex tight ends who aren't really blockers. I don't know. I know you're trying to upgrade the weapons around Daniel Jones to see if he's legitimately the guy. To me, it seems a little redundant getting another jumbo wide receiver at the tight end position.
Yeah, not to mention Kyle Rudolph is there as well. But let's skip it down to 15, Lance. The Pats inject some much-needed speed into that defense with Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons is a phenomenal athlete. You know, there's some character concerns that could knock him down the board, but if he falls to 15, and I've got him rated higher I'm going to tell you what now. Big, fast, physical. He's what the Patriots love, only a better athlete than they typically have in the middle. I think the Patriots room could handle him as well. This would be a steal at 15.
If he falls to 15, he is absolutely a steal. And you talk about the Patriots trying to bring back the dynasty. They can bring back the dynasty with Micah Parsons in the middle. This is a tremendously talented player who does a great job of not only rushing the passer, but making plays sideline to sideline. You put him in that defense, look out in New England.
So the linebacker there lands in New England as we make our way past Patriot Way. Hold up, let's U-turn because we're going back to 12, a pick now held by the Eagles via the Dolphins and the Niners. I've heard a lot of requests for a wide receiver, Lance, and you've done it again, my friend. You delivered another Jalen for the Birds, a Jalen reunion.
Well, I knew you would roll us back to the Eagles, your Eagles squad. Look at the blouse. I mean, this has Eagles written all over it today. And you know what? If they're able to get their hands on Jalen Waddle, run that card to the podium, or however they're going to do it virtually this year. We'll see how that happens. But I just know this much. Waddle is played right now with Jalen Hurts. He's played in the background with Jalen Hurts a couple years ago. He's got 3-level ability on the catch and run ability, the ability to take the ball deep, and of course the ability to win contested catches on the second level. I think he's the type of player that can make Jalen Hurts more comfortable because he can get so wide open on so many different levels of the field.
Oh, he absolutely has the juice, and you now have two fast players on the perimeter. You talk about Jalen Waddle and then Jalen Reagor. I know people are down on Jalen Reagor, but give him another year. If you have two dynamic playmakers on the outside with Jalen Hurts pulling the trigger, this might give the Eagles offense an opportunity to put more points on the board.
You know, it's been a minute since Philly really crushed a wide receiver pick, maybe a decade. Are there any concerns, though, Lance, about his ankle?
Well, I think they're going to take a look at it. Ultimately, I think based on the injury and what it was, I don't think there's going to be. But, of course, the medicals, they can look into that if they want to with the medicals. And if it is a concern, they can pass because the Eagles have a lot of different needs. But if he's there, I don't think that ankle issue is going to be a concern. I mean, the guy came back for a national championship game. That's what kind of baller we're talking about here.
All right, so the Eagles, they move outside the top 10. They're very quiet in free agency. They trade away Carson Wentz, but they get a wide receiver. The rebuild, it is on in Philadelphia. The Jets, they've been under construction for quite some time now. We've already seen them take Zach Wilson in Lance's mock early, but who should they pick with their other first rounder? And will that player be a playmaker for a new young quarterback? Find out next. Back to Lance's latest mock 3.0 on Mock Draft Live. And Lance, the Raiders going with a defensive tackle out of Alabama here.
Yeah, by far and away the best defensive tackle in this draft. He can rush from the interior, which is very, very valuable. He's very stout against the run. With all due respect to Quentin Jefferson and Solomon Thomas, who've been added to go along with Maurice Hurst, this guy's just better than they are. And I feel like he would really help a huge weakness right now with the Raiders, which is up the middle.
Look, he's a dominant player at times. The only issue I have with Barmore is he has a hot and cold motor. He doesn't play fast and physical and aggressive at all times. Takes too many plays off, but when he's revved up and ready to go, he can be a dominant player. I'm just curious to see which guy shows up in Las Vegas.
That Vegas pass rush needs all the support they can get. Let's keep it on the D-line for Miami's pick at 18. Popping over, though, for an edge rusher after they grabbed a wide receiver earlier.
Well, I bet you Bucky doesn't say anything about Kwity Paye's motor, because Kwity Paye is all day, every day. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he's explosive. The only problem is the instincts aren't always great. Now, you know, that's the one thing that concerns me. But when you look at the traits, those are the traits that Brian Flores is really going to covet.
He absolutely is going to covet those traits because he is big, fast, and physical, plays hard. The only issue that I have with Kwity Paye is, despite all those superhuman talents, he doesn't have a lot of activity and a lot of production. Can that translate at the next level? Can they finally unlock the potential so he can be more productive?
Well, if it does, he will begin his career terrorizing AFC East quarterbacks. Beyond 17 and 18, though, we have Lance picks through the Steelers at 24, all 8 on defense, 7 in the front 7, a run on edge defenders, 4 flying off the board to the aforementioned Dolphins, Bears, Colts, and the Jets. Now, Lance, tell me a little bit more here about that pick at 23 out of Georgia, Azeez Ojulari.
Yeah, this is a long-armed edge defender. I think when you watched him on tape, he's got good get-off. You can see the twitch. You can see the play strength. It's just that he's not a real skilled rusher yet. And every pass rusher in this draft, they have some flaws. And the question is, who's going to get them coached up? But I really feel like Azeez Ojulari has things that can be coached up. He has issues from a pass rushing standpoint that can be coached. You saw him use his hands right there. He can bend and flatten to the quarterback. And I think the main thing is his demeanor and his play strength as a rusher, something, Bucky, that really translates. Give me a big, strong, physical guy with some dog in him. And that kind of player usually makes it in the league, even if he has some weaknesses here or there from a technical standpoint.
You talk about one of the more polarizing prospects on the board. This is a guy that is a little bit of a one-trick pony off the edge, but that trick is phenomenal when it's working. His dip and rip move, his ability to turn the corner really stands out on tape. It's a matter of, can he add other pitches to the repertoire, or is he going to be Mariano Rivera that can just beat people with the cutter?
Okay, I got a lot of questions about these Jets. Bucky, let's rewind just a touch here, reset. If the Jets do, in fact, go with Zach Wilson second overall, where does Sam Darnold play in 2021?
That's the million-dollar question, because if they could have unloaded Sam Darnold, they probably would have done so at this point. I mean, San Francisco was a fit, but that's no longer the case. I think the Washington football team maybe could be in play, but really, right now, Sam Darnold looks like a player without a position. The team he'll play for in 2021 will be right there in New York in the Big Apple. He'll be with the Jets this year.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think, you know, from a market standpoint, it's really dried up at that position. And of course, you know, right now the Texans would probably consider him, except for the fact that they filled those gaps with their quarterback position. And I wouldn't be in a big hurry to just deal him off. I think there will be some value, especially at some point in the season. If there is an injury, a team may get desperate. So I would sit tight, because I think Sam could have some value before the trade deadline this year.
So much of this draft revolves around what the Jets do at 2 and if the organization plans to ghost their 23-year-old quarterback with a trade out of town. We'll get back to Lance's mock in just a bit, but first let's take an analytical look at this year's draft. Here are some of the notable selections in Cynthia Freeland's data-driven Mock 2.0. It's the mock within the mock, a very meta mock, if you will. Cynthia Freeland, our analytics expert, joins myself and Bucky Brooks. So Cynthia, aside from this being your baby, your mock, why is this mock slightly different than others?
Well, of course my baby's different. first and foremost, I wasn't allowed to propose any trades. So no trades allowed. That's the first thing. The second thing is it's focused on using win share, which is a metric kind of like WAR in baseball, to evaluate how many wins a particular player will average this season, so 2021, which means if the team is looking to win in 2021, this is the player they should select. It's not a build for the future scenario. It's a 2021 win now.
Mocks would be really boring if they were all the same. So let's shake some things up here and keep it with the Jets discussion. Keep that discussion live and well with Rashawn Slater going to New York at number 2.
So the model here suggests that not departing from Sam Darnold, unless they get a nice return on investment from him, is the optimal configuration, because adding to their O-line, it reinforces the principles of potentially running the ball more and giving Sam Darnold the opportunity to actually make some throws. He was under pressure on a tremendous amount of his dropbacks his entire career as a Jet, and adding Slater, who's dynamic and can be used on the inside as a guard or as a tackle, would really help the right side of their line, considering Mekhi Becton, who they chose in the first round last year. He was really good when he was available and on the field on the left side last year.
You know, when I think about this, I think it's actually a smart idea for the Jets to build up the team around the quarterback. Even though there's been a lot of conversation about taking Zach Wilson, adding another piece to the offensive line would help get the Jets going, because now they have a fortress in front of the king, which is the quarterback.
So Sam stays for the Robert Saleh experience in New York. Let's go to your Falcons pick at 4. It's not a cornerback. It's not a quarterback. It's Kwity Paye.
Well, look, this one's about a strategic fit with a lot of upside. If you look at what Dean Pease has been good at his entire career, it's making these fronts with a lot of talent and athleticism. Paye showed out at his pro day, which we expected, but really he's kind of a raw talent. And last season, if you look at all of the different ways that we can measure, which is primarily not the way we usually do, which is the combine, where we usually have a lot of fun, but the on-the-field stuff, he's able to get to the quarterback in ways that make sense given Dean Pease, the new defensive coordinator's opportunity. So getting that pass rush, you got to get that solidified so that the Falcons have a chance to win this season.
Man, Cynthia, I can't always agree with you, but I'm going to agree again, because I think this is really good for the Falcons. The pass rush impacts the coverage far more than coverage impacts the pass rush. Kwity Paye is explosive off the edge. He certainly will quicken the clock for the quarterback. That will allow the coverage to play tighter because the ball has to come out quicker.
Someone to get after those quarterbacks in the NFC South, whoever they might be outside of Tom Brady. And finally, a BFF for Tua with the 6th overall pick, Kyle Pitts to Miami.
So the interesting part here is we need to give a round of applause to Chris Grier, because I actually think that they could have gotten this pick even higher and then they traded down and earned so much equity for it. So this is really, really smart, because Kyle Pitts is not necessarily the guy that, he's not just a tight end. He's not your average run-of-the-mill tight end. This is actually like a receiver and a tight end all in one. So adding Will Fuller as that deep presence and then reinforcing that with Kyle Pitts on the routes that are a little closer and mean you have the more physical aspect to them, that creates such a great opportunity for their quarterback to just absolutely succeed. So the combination of the two gives such a huge uptick, and they earned extra draft equity for it. Congrats, Dolphins, you're winning.
Look, the Dolphins are certainly winning. Adding a pass catcher there certainly makes sense. Kyle Pitts to go with Mike Gesicki, yeah, I like that combination. But what about Jamar Chase? What about an outside receiver, a true number one? That would be the only contention, but you can't go wrong with a big-time pass catcher over the middle of the field.
That was actually the second choice there.
Ooh, see, look, Cynthia, she's on it. You guys need to read the rest of her mock 2.0. It's up right now at NFL.com/Freeland. Thank you, my analytics queen. All right, so I just mentioned the NFC South quarterbacks, and it looks like Jameis Winston will be the heir apparent to Drew Brees if he beats out Taysom Hill. So will the Saints get their quarterback some help on the offensive side of the ball? We're back to Lance's mock right after this.
Jackson off the play fake, deep drop, steps up, under pressure, fires to the end zone, touchdown! Rolls to the right, fires to the back of the end zone, caught for a touchdown! Pocket collapsing, he escapes, leg race, 10, 5, Lamar Jackson takes it to the house, fires to the end zone, he's got a man, he's got a touchdown!
Jackson, end zone, touchdown!
He'll keep it, runs up the middle, big hole.
There he goes like a video game.
Lamar Jackson, touchdown Ravens!
The human highlight reel.
Welcome back to Mock Draft Live as we fly through Lance Zierlein's latest mock, and a wide receiver comes off the board for the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. Lance, is he going to be happy about this?
Yeah, I think so. Big, fast, and talented, and that's what Terrace Marshall is. I think there's some ups and downs in his game, but he looked a little bored last year, and you can expect that after that national championship season the year before. But I think he really gives something Lamar Jackson, a player he needs, which is a big target who also has the ability to stretch a defense.
Yeah, they certainly need a big target on the outside. They have a bunch of mighty mice on the outside, someone big to certainly expand the strike zone for Lamar Jackson.
Baltimore really liking LSU in the first round after taking Patrick Queen last year. Let's fill in the rest of the blanks here for the first round of Lance's mock. Tevin, Terrence, Tyson, and Travis all off the board, with the Jags grabbing a tackle, the Packers drafting a corner, and the Bucs finishing out the round with a running back there, Travis Etienne. I'm sure Lance and Bucky hear from so many fans that just absolutely agree with everything in their mocks. Every single pick, all praise, nothing but love. However, it is hot take season, so we're bringing the heat here. I'm going to present a take to you, and then you guys give me your reaction. So first one up here, Lance, the Bucs should create a defensive super team and draft a corner in the first round to take over the world.
No, there's not a cornerback who's going to be there that I would consider to be an instant starter. So, no, I like what I did. I like Etienne. But, you know, if you're going to get a cornerback, you better make sure you get one that can play right away, because how long is Tom Brady going to continue to play for the Bucs? That's what I want to know. I mean, now this guy can roll. I like him. But, you know, other than that, I'm still a big fan of going with the running back and staying with super team on offense. That's Tyson Campbell, cornerback. Ran a 4.38. I like 4.38 corners now, Buck.
I mean, 4.38 corners are not bad. There's nothing wrong with having a speedster.
Okay, Buck, this one's for you. Steelers should focus on the red zone and select a tight end in the first round for the first time since 2005.
No, and no. They want to improve their red zone woes. They need to run the football. So how about a guy like Najee Harris? I like Pat Freiermuth. He's a great job. He's one of the best to ever do it at Penn State. But when I think about the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, another tight end on the field certainly is going to do it. Someone that can run the ball and dictate the terms to the defense, they will have more of an impact, particularly down in the red zone.
Yeah, I'd rather – hey, look, I don't have a problem with getting a tight end, but not in the first round. I pass on first-round tight end. Like Bucky said, run the ball, please, Steelers. You say that's what you do it.
All right, so no baby Heath Miller there. How about this one, Lance? Bengals should give Joe Burrow more playmakers and draft Jamar Chase. Can he play tackle too?
We'll find a tackle. We'll make it work. If I've got T. Higgins and I got Boyd and I've got Jamar Chase, like, we'll make it work. Don't worry about that. We'll go get a free agent off the scrap heap. We'll trade for somebody. But this is a guy, Jamar Chase, who can change who you are for a long time to come. Don't get so caught up in a need that you miss out on a start.
I mean, I dig it, but what are we playing, video games? We got to have more than just a playmaker on the outside. Get a big body. Big body. Give me a tackle.
Oh, the LSU reunion. It would be so nice. Okay, Bucky, you're up with this one. The Vikings should trade up with the Falcons to 4 and pick Penei Sewell. So should they leapfrog Cincy in essence?
I mean, I like the Vikings, and I like what Lance is talking about potentially doing. I know he likes big bodies or whatever. I don't think they should do it. I think what the Vikings need to continue to do is build their defense. Their defense is the best part of it. But in thinking about Penei Sewell is a road grade. He does a great job fitting into their scheme. I know they're going to continue on with the QBX scheme. He would be a fit. I just think they would probably benefit from more defensive help because the defense is really where the problems lie.
Yeah, I would. You know, if you look at where they are in the draft, I think they can maneuver around if they need to for a tackle as the draft comes to them. I wouldn't risk it and go that far up in the draft. It's not a risk. It's just you really put a lot on Penei Sewell's shoulders if you do that. So I'm sitting tight. I'll wait and see how the draft unfolds and then make a move up if I need to at some point.
All right, so a bit cool on that hot take right there. We're
Bit cool
sliding
on
the
that
takes,
one,
though, to the back burner for now because we got to make room for the guys you might not know about, but should. You absolutely should be the smartest person in the room after learning about Lance's sleeper picks when Mock Draft Live returns. Let's get to some of Lance's most underrated players in Sir Lance's lot. Sir, you're up.
Yeah, well, let's start with Tommy Trimble from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Number 24 there. You're going to see him with a lot of lead block situations. He's also a pass catcher. Not great. The hands need a little work. He is physical after the finish, but he's really athletic too and can get out in space. But what I like right there, you see him get out in space and block for you. He can get open down the field, and he is a very, very physical blocker.
He is a physical blocker, and it's so hard to find tight ends that can get it done on the edge. He is one of the best, if not the best, edge blocker at the position in this draft.
Love it, Bucky. And I tell you, a guy that a lot of people are sleeping on for some reason is Stone Forsythe, the big left tackle out of Florida. The game he had against Azeez Ojulari and Georgia was really eye-opening for me. He's 6'9". Those guys usually have core strength issues or at least issues with getting pushed back into the pocket. Not Stone Forsythe. He's long. He's really good in pass protection, and I think he's going to be a day 2 tackle that a lot of people are going to wish they had taken earlier in the draft.
I mean, if you got a nickname that's Stone, you got to be a good player on the edges, and he does a good job of stoning edge rushers at times. You're right. Day 2 is a nice opportunity for him to hear his name called.
And lastly, let's get to the third of the Lance's lots, and that's going to be Jamar Johnson. He was a revelation for me. This is a guy who can play corner. He can play in the post. He's got tremendously high football IQ, and he really has ball skills that are extremely impressive. You'll see him go up and snatch the ball on jump ball scenarios and situations. Listen, in today's NFL, Bucky, you got to have guys who can play all over the field, and that's what Jamar Johnson does.
Yeah, he absolutely can play all over the field. And Lance, your revelation is one that really woke my eyes up to him. This kid from Indiana is a big-time baller. He is someone that you can take on day 2, put him in the lineup, and he's going to make plays right away.
real question here. How will Lance's mock affect your fantasy team in 2021? If nobody else cares about your team, you better make sure you do. So let's bring in the fantasy take here with Marcus Grant, a.k.a. should I take any of the following players in my keeper league? Jamar Chase, Marcus, to the Dolphins. What do you think about this?
I feel like that is a better real-life football move for the Miami Dolphins than potentially for fantasy. This isn't about Jamar Chase's talent. He is supremely talented, just a great athlete overall. And it helps if you're adding weapons around a young quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa. What concerns me is that he joins a very crowded pass catcher group. The Dolphins went out and signed Will Fuller. They've got Devonta Parker, who's had a couple of nice years. Mike Gesicki has really evolved. And Preston Williams, even though he's had injury issues, has been productive when he's been on the field. So suddenly there looks like a battle for targets in this offense. I do think Williams might end up being the odd man out, but there's still going to be a lot of mouths to try to feed in that passing game.
Okay, Marcus, how about this next one? The Lions always concern me a little bit when it comes to fantasy, but Devonta Smith to Detroit with Jared Goff now.
I think amongst fantasy folks, there is an undercurrent of, I don't know if you want to call it concern or fear or what have you, about wide receivers connected to Jared Goff. Devonta Smith, though, is just an absolute technician when it comes to route running. And if we get the 2018 version of Jared Goff, who was more likely to push the ball downfield, then you've got Rashad Perriman, Tyrell Williams, who can really take the top off of defense and give Smith room to work underneath. If it's the Jared Goff we've seen the last couple of years, who's more of a check down guy, I think it's going to be a little bit of a tougher go for Smith.
Okay, so you're making me a little nervous about that one. How about this? Jalen Waddle as an Eagle in Philadelphia.
So what I look at when I see Jalen Waddle there is I wonder whether or not he is too similar to Jalen Reagor, who I know didn't have the great rookie year like everybody had expected, but it's still too soon to close the book on him, even if Reagor doesn't step up. I think Waddle's a guy who can go in and be productive right away, so it doesn't feel so bad when Eagles fans see Justin Jefferson scoring touchdowns week after week. Philadelphia needs wide receiver help. You cannot survive with Greg Ward and Travis Fulgham. So Waddle has a chance to get on the field, get targets right away, plus maybe a little bit of a reunion with Jalen Hurts since the two were teammates for one season at Alabama.
They're assembling a Jalen All-Star team in Philadelphia. What could go wrong? All right, last one here. How about a running back, Travis Etienne, with the defending Super Bowl champs there in Tampa Bay?
Well, this is sort of like I talked about with Jamar Chase. This seems like a better real football move than it does for fantasy. I mean, part of what we liked last year with the Bucs, Ronald Jones sort of outperformed expectations. Now, what Etienne does bring to this team, he is a better pass catching option out of the backfield than Rojo is or than Leonard Fournette was. But I would prefer that this is a guy with 3 down potential. I'd like to see him land in a situation where he can be that main back, maybe the Jets, maybe the Steelers. But I think in terms of what it means to the Bucs, it's great. I just feel like he's going to have to share some of those snaps with Ronald Jones, and that's going to potentially cap what he can do production-wise.
Well, Marcus, you've given Wolf Blitzer a lot to think about over these next couple months, none of which I will share with any of my league mates except you guys out there. Until next time, my friend, thank you, Marcus. We're not done with Mock Draft Live just yet. When we come back, Lance makes a bold prediction that might actually come true, for real. We'll make sense of it all right after this. We're less than a month away from the city of Cleveland rocking out for the 2021 NFL Draft. The whole thing kicks off Thursday, April 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern when the Jags are officially put on the clock. You can watch the entire thing right here on NFL Network. Hey, Lance, favor real quick. Stop making so much sense. And by stop, I mean keep it up, you genius. So let's hear your bold prediction that's about to come true.
Well, this is a bold prediction, and I hope it doesn't come true, frankly, because I think Caleb Farley, the talented cornerback out of Virginia Tech, could slide all the way out of the first round. Now, that may sound like a bold proclamation right now, but I know a lot of NFL teams are worried about the latest news about his back issue. He's had a back issue in the past. He's got one now that they're going to have a surgery on, and, of course, he's going to have another medical check done down the road. But this is also a player with an ACL tear in his background. All these injuries are a real concern for teams. He didn't play this year because he was an opt-out. I've got a bad feeling that he could end up sliding out of the first round.
Yeah, Lance, that's a legitimate concern. Multiple back injuries, the ACL, and the COVID opt-out. Man, that's a lot of bad information going for Caleb Farley.
Well, I hope that does not happen, but we'll see if it comes true. Excellent work today, gentlemen. Shouts to Cynthia Freeland and Marcus Grant for stopping by. Lance, Buck, it's been a delight. We are back next Tuesday night, and so is Daniel Jeremiah. Join us as DJ returns to Mock Draft Live with his Mock Draft 3.0. That's Tuesday, April 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on NFL Network. We'll see you then.